Good evening, Arka. Pleasure seeing you again.
Good evening, sir.
And it's a pleasure to see you at the plaza.
Yeah, yes, sir. Though I'm at home currently.
Yeah, but I can feel that you are at plaza. Congratulations on getting into IIM Ahmedabad.
Thank you, sir.
This is a different kind of launch pad. I'm sure there are some people from the US who are going to hunt for you to send you to the Mars. It will be a pleasure for people to know about you, the context in which I'm talking. Over to you, Arka. Introduce yourselves.
Yes, sir. So I am Arkadip. I am born in Kolkata, but my native home is in Bardhaman, which is away from Kolkata. So I stayed in a residential school and since class 5th, and I completed my higher secondary and class 10th secondary uh, from Ramkrishna Mission Vidyalaya Narendrapur. So, so my 10th score was about 91%, and my 12th score was about 96.4%. So, post my HS, I also received admission offers from Indian Statistical Institute. So, I attended few classes there, but then felt that it's not my cup of tea. Not cup of tea, but actually, I felt that the study in that is lacks variety. So I joined IIT Kanpur. So I was a BTech student, and then in my third year, I wasn't satisfied with with the amount of learning I got in 3 years. So then I converted it into dual degree so that I can get more research kind of experience. Yeah. So now after finishing my dual degree, I'm on.
So you did your dual degree in aerospace, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm an aerospace.
Yeah, that's the connection with Mars and the gentleman who is in the US. SpaceX is going to recruit you. That's what I believe. If you really want to. So Arka is at IIM Ahmedabad, and he came to IIM Ahmedabad also through ISRO. He went through ISRO and came to IIM Ahmedabad. We'll talk about this if he wants to reveal a little bit more. Oh, very good. Aka, it's a pleasure to get to know you. Aka, when did you decide on giving CAT or getting into business school? When you chose to get into research by converting into dual degree, then you suddenly vanished from there, or you wanted to vanish from there and come to a business school. So how did it happen, and when did it happen?
Yes. So I finished my third year and went for an internship at DRDO.
Oh,
So
DRDO. Okay.
yeah. So then there I was working on a project, and then I felt that that aerospace has so much potential. It's going to be a huge industry in the future. So only being a researcher would kind of limit my uh, what to say potential. So I wanted to be someone who is a leader in that sector and have an active contribution towards shaping the industry. Not that I'm not telling that researchers don't have an active contribution, but yeah. So that's when I decided to take uh, CAT, and yeah. So that's where I decided to take CAT.
So when you decided to take CAT after your third year internship, what all challenges did you see when you looked at CAT as an entity or as an animal that you have to deal with?
Yes. So when I decided to take CAT, so I was always sure that if I'm gonna do an MBA, it's gonna be from IIM ABC. So I did some calculation. So and then I figured out how much CPI I need to score in the upcoming semesters to have a shot at IIM Ahmedabad.
Uh,
So I did a detailed calculation on that, and there and after the and I mean like my calculations, like my planning, I decided the course that I'm gonna take in the upcoming 3 semesters, I think. Yeah. So then I was busy with so the first challenge was I have to do a thesis for my MTech. So before starting my CAT preparation, I wanted to set up a perfect base for the thesis so that I can build upon that with a bit less effort. The maximum effort will go on to set up the base. So yeah, my first priority was to score a decent enough, very high CPI in the upcoming semesters, and to set up a base for my thesis so that I can focus more on CAT and a bit less on thesis. So then I started. So it took a long time. So then COVID happened. I came to home, so it affected my plan, and then it took a pretty 3, 4, 6 months time almost. 6 months time to set up my thesis, background of the thesis, to set up all the codes and mesh and all those things. Then I started my CAT preparation. So when so also what happened is during COVID, I came home, so all my whatever books or materials that I bought was on campus. So I was literally at home without any preparation material. So then I joined a coaching institute to help me in this matter, because I saw that I am wasting too much time searching for content. So that's totally not worth it. So I just joined a coaching institute and started my preparation.
okay. Now tell me, when you started the preparation for CAT, what are the what are the kinds of issues that you encountered for yourself that you had to resolve, or you had to overcome those challenges? Um, it could be time related, it could be work related, or it could be the section related, strategy related. So in the initial stages, what was the struggle that you went through? Did you take a mock before you started your preparation?
Yes, that's where I figured out that I am lacking content, and I need to I mean further ease the process so that I don't waste much time. So when I gave the mock, I figured out that VRC definitely needs too much improvement. LRDI is a bit consistent. So I actually took 3 mocks before starting the preparation. So LRDI is a bit inconsistent. Uh, like I don't know which set to attempt. Uh, so even if I attempt, my accuracy fluctuates and all those things. And quant was the only section I was feeling that okay, speed is the issue. I know how to solve this question. I just need to work on speed, and accuracy was pretty good enough. So I knew that yeah, quant will be my strength. And some of the concepts I forgot. So that's how I analyzed myself, the position of myself, and
Okay. So it's interesting that you took 3 mocks before you started preparing for CAT. And if I may ask you, what were your scores in these mocks?
I don't remember, but it's something around VRC, like, pretty pretty bad. Like I was scoring like 60% negative or 40% positive, and it was pretty bad.
Okay.
And LRDI I was able to attempt one or at max 2 sets hardly, and also out of these two sets, I I wasn't even clocking 70-75% accuracy. And QA was the only thing that whatever I did, like if I was able to solve 12 questions, so 12 questions, I was easily achieving more than 90% accuracy. And I was able to select questions easily. I knew what my strengths were, which questions I'm gonna solve in one go. So yeah, QA was clicking very fine with me.
Okay. Okay. So now you looked at VARC and you realized that it was a challenge. So what all were the challenges with VARC? Because VARC is a challenge for most engineers, and also in Indian context, most of us at home, we speak our own mother tongues, and many people, a lot of people have challenge, even if they finish in English. And there are, of course, a section of society where people go to English medium schools where English is also taught in Hindi. So, so there is varieties of challenges. So, but for you, what were those challenges in VARC in the initial stages?
Uh, so so as I told that I was in hostel since my class 5 to 12. So there we didn't have any phones or laptops, or not we were allowed to go outside. So all we had are books. So we spent a lot of time reading. Like that was our only hobby kind of a thing, and used to play a lot. So so reading wasn't an issue for me. I was able to read fast enough, and vocabulary was also not very good but decent. So uh, my only problem was that while solving RCs, I was able to eliminate one two options. Then in the final two options, I mostly marked the wrong ones.
Okay. So the final two options left, you usually mark the wrong answer, because most probably you did not believe in what your heart saying and mind said, this is right and that is wrong. But
Yes,
tell me, uh, CAT has unusual array or the spectrum of subjects that RC deals with is too wide. Were you comfortable with all kinds of subjects?
yes. Mm, so so at first, so what happened is that I I read no articles in the course of preparation, very few. So that is the one thing I regret. I didn't have the so much time, so I used to like read one articles in 2 days or maybe 3 days, and I mainly focused on like reading the past year mocks and all those things. So that way I familiarized myself with the types of articles that are given in a CAT paper. So yeah, and also I have a hard time remembering the gist of the passage. So I used to write on paper some few points so that I don't have to uh, remember it, and also while solving the questions, I don't search for the answer very easy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But you are comfortable with philosophies and psychologies and
Yes,
ethics
yes,
and
yes, yes.
all those kinds of subjects you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I even took I had a course on philosophy, sociology, psychology in my undergrad. So
Oh, I see. Oh, that's how they all came to your rescue.
yes, yes,
Very interesting. So for those who are very keen, if you, along with your graduation, if you're able to pick up these books and readings, it makes your life easy. That's what Arca realized. Okay. Now, uh, were other types of questions in verbal ability posed a challenge, or they were okay?
yes.
The kinds of para jumbles and critical reasoning, those kinds of questions, were you comfortable with?
PJ, I was never did one even one question right in the initial start. PJ, I usually avoided even in CAT, even in mocks and all that. But the good thing about PJ is you don't have negative marking. Um, so yeah, so even if you do wrong, it's okay. Not gonna deduct marks. And para summary is the most probably the strongest part of my VRC. So I used to achieve 90% plus accuracy in para summary, and critical reasoning still doable. Like I found some, I mean, analytical logic in that kind of thing, so I was able to solve it. Yeah. So
Okay.
Parajumble is the dreaded portion. I never attempted those.
So basically, you somehow sailed through VARC, that I can tell you.
Yes, yes.
What is your percentile in VARC, if I ask, in the final CAT?
97.
Now, oh, that's not bad at
I
all.
I never scored 97 in any of my mocks. 97. I never scored 90 plus even.
That's because for somebody who is comfortable with VARC, usually parajumbles will be a smooth sailing because they know how to pick it up. Okay, now come to DALR. You said DALR also posed some challenge. What kind of challenges did DALR pose you, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So I think here is the most tricky part of a cat. It hugely depends on uh, choosing the right set at the right time. Uh, and also it's like it's more of a hard work than a smart work. Like you need to solve a lot of sets to actually able to solve it in a question paper in the on the debate. So initially I was struggling with choosing the right set. I always end up choosing the wrong set and spend a lot of time on that, and then was not able to solve it. And also accuracy method. Like I used to, so like there are some small tricks in each of the question, and I often overlooked it. So that's where accuracy gone was going, and so that's what I discovered my faults in attempting a question. And then I started practicing more and more. So so DILR is like not a lot of concepts involved, but you need to solve a huge amount of sets. The more you solve, the more you get comfortable with all those sets, the more your silly mistakes come down. And yeah, so that's what DILR is all about.
Okay, so you realize that your choice of sets really became better the more and more you became familiar, be due to practice, and the practice made you pick up not only become comfortable with types of sets, but also it helped you to pick up the right kinds of sets that you should attempt. And
Right.
it was sheer practice, practice, and practice.
Yes, yes. By practice, you actually know your strengths, like which area are you strong at, which area are you weak at. So if in any paper, in any question paper, if you start with a set that you can solve with confidence, so it have a huge impact. So in that day, it's very crucial to start with a set that you know you can solve it, and then it matters actually. The upcoming sets become more easy because you are more confident.
Okay. Okay. Now let's come to quantitative ability. Though you said that that is your strength area, but what were the challenges there, and or what are the strengths there which you capitalized or which you worked upon to really push the scores?
Yes, so quant was my strength area. So all I focused was my focus was to like not even let one question go in quant, but that's not practically possible. Uh, anyway, so I when I attempted the mocks, I discovered my mistakes. Like silly mistake always there, so I have to reduce that. And also like the few of the areas like PNC I'm really bad at. I even didn't attempt any PNC um, in my JE time. And so I am always afraid of PNC. So I knew PNC I will have to work much harder. Geometry, I left geometry in class 10, so I totally forgot that. uh, and there are a lot of theorems which are very hard to remember. Only you can remember with enough practice. um, and numbers is my most favorite part. And also so yeah, so numbers, it was like, I wasn't very like I wasn't very sure about it. It was like I mean the questions I chose, I wasn't sure that I will be able to solve it or not in the initial part. But when I revised the concept, I studied about it, then it went away. And arithmetic algebra I was pretty comfortable with.
Hmm. Anyways, arithmetic and algebra together constitute almost 70% of CAT paper. So that would have been a smooth sailing for you.
Yeah.
Tell me, did you have these two devils creating problems? The one is called ego, another is called opportunity cost, in terms of you spent more time and realize that, oh, no, I spent more time, let me give a little bit more time and I'll crack this question. So any of these things, did those things bother you, the ego part and opportunity cost part?
Yes, in the initial part, it was like uh, there's a question and it looked nice to me, and then I keep on solving it. Like, yeah, I was able to do this. But ultimately, what happens is either you spend too much time and you are not able to solve it, or you spend so much time that that it's not worth it. So yeah, so I gradually realized that okay, I have to choose the right questions at the right point of time. I mean, a question may appear like easy or a very lucrative one, but you have to be a bit smart about it. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Tell me now, how long did you take? When did you actually start your preparation for CAT 2020?
I started around last week of May. Last week
Okay.
of May. Yeah.
Okay. Last week of May. So by when were you able to get hold on each of these sections? By which month? Saying that now you felt that, okay, now I know what I should be doing. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so I started giving mocks in July last week or August first week. Uh,
Okay.
so by that time also I didn't finish my whole syllabus. I finished it around September mid or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I when I started mocks, I was finished with 70% of the syllabus. Then by that time I was a bit confident that yeah, I can attempt mocks and I can do something. Not
So
not good enough, but yeah.
but tell me, the mocks usually start by April, but you waited for July to come to take the backlog of mocks and other mocks. Why did you wait for 3 months to start taking mocks?
Because if you are not confident enough, there is no point in giving mocks because you will score less. You will go into a uh, what to say, you are in a deep state of depression that I am not able to score more. Plus it's of no use. Like you will solve it, some solution will be given, and you will not be able to understand it. You will not be able to see how which concept came into which questions and all those things. So it's better
Okay.
to wait till you are confident enough.
Okay. Okay. Now tell me, when you retook the mocks, restarted the mocks sometime in July, you said you took 3 mocks in the beginning and you waited till July till 60-70% of your course or syllabus you finished thoroughly, then you started taking mocks. So when you took the mock in the month of July, 1 or 2 mocks, what difference did you see from the mock that you started with and the mock that you took in the month of July? What kind of difference you saw because of the kind of work you put in those 3 months?
Yes. So in the when I in the mocks I started giving. So VRC was I was able to reduce my negative markings. I knew I won't have to attempt PJs, so I don't waste time on that. Instead, I gave my time to RCs, and so basically I knew my strengths, which to attempt, at least have some idea of my strength, which to attempt, which not to attempt. So that made a huge difference. And also my like I was giving mocks, like I set up a benchmark for myself. I knew that I haven't completed my full syllabus, so I just set up a benchmark for myself, and I was happy if I am achieving it, kind of a thing. And in LRDI, I was my accuracy increased a lot, and still I was facing issue with like I'm not able to solve more than two questions, more than two sets or maximum. No,
Hmm.
I haven't solved three sets.
Hmm.
More than two sets. So yeah, so quant speed increased a lot. Initially, I wasn't able to solve 10, 12 questions, but then it increased. So yeah.
So by July, How many questions were you attempting and what were the scores in quant?
Yeah, so as I told, I set up a benchmark for myself. Like VRC, I am always aggressive. Like I always try to attempt as much questions as possible because I know there will be negative marking. So it all depends on how much negative marking I can afford. Uh, and LRDI, I set up for myself that okay, I will solve two sets, but it should be of at least 95% accuracy. So, so if I'm gonna achieve this two sets target for probably 3 marks, 4 marks, then I will increase the benchmark to maybe 4 sets or 3 sets, whatever. Uh, and quant also, I set up a target like I will solve 15 questions, but I have to get 100% accuracy. So like this, I used to set up my benchmark. So initially, I was scoring in quant. I was able to solve like 15 questions, 14 questions, and with acceptable accuracy. So I was so LRD also I was doing okayish with my benchmark, and BRC was still a problem, but yeah, I was working on it, so I knew.
Okay. Now tell me, the mocks bring forth a varieties of emotions in people. People are comfortable solving each section separately, but sitting for 3 hours is pain for quite a few people. The second kind of problem arises when they start taking mocks and their scores do not improve. Then also there is a struggle. So tell me, how important is taking mocks? How important is taking mocks with the spirit of taking those 3 hour mocks or 2 hour mocks that one is supposed to take?
Yes. So in any competitive exam, mocks are the most crucial part of any preparation. So like mocks help you devise your strategy. The strategy is not a thing like you just set up a strategy and it's gonna work. So it's always hit and try. So you need to give mocks with all those strategies you devise and see what strategy works for you. So closing the wrong doors is crucial. It's not always you're gonna find the right in a way. In so yeah, and mocks. So many people see it as a competitive. I saw it as a practice source. So I wasn't bothered with my percentile in the initial stages. I was just focused on meeting my targets, which I set for each mocks. I was focused on like to for focus to improve the focus on the improvement that I was receiving throughout the mocks, and so sitting 3 hours is a problem, and so yeah, I mean, if in your college exams also you sit for 3 hours for an exam, so it's better. So initially it might be a problem, but again, as you attempt many mocks, you will get used to it, and attempting many mocks will also like you will realize that cat is also a mock. So that's what happened with me. I wasn't at least bothered about the D-Day, and scoring low. So mocks is always a win-win situation. So if you score high, you say to yourself that yeah, I am on a right path. You know that. So you got a feeling that yes, okay, I can do it. But if you score low, then also you know what your weaknesses are. You know what your strengths are, and you know where specifically you know where you are going wrong. So
Hmm.
better or work on that. Then in the next mock you just fix those things. Maybe you will not be able to fix 100% of all the mistakes, but yeah, even 5% you will be able to fix. So it's a continuous process. Like so that's what mock is.
So it's an interesting perspective you brought. So I just want to know, how important is analyzing the mocks? Giving the mocks, you said that more and more mocks you give, the greater will be your felicity, will improve. But what is the role of analysis of mocks in improvement of your scores? And how did you analyze these mocks?
Yes. So yeah. So like the whole purpose of giving mocks is to not just to see your position among your peers, but to analyze like your strength and your weakness. So like where you are going wrong and how you are going wrong. Uh, so in that perspective, analysis is the only tool that will help you understand this. So what I used to do is I solve a mock, and then we have about how much 3 4 days before the result comes out or solution comes out. And I use that time to just go through the question which I wasn't able to solve. Sometimes, like most of the times, I was able to solve when there is no time pressure or exam pressure. So that tells you that yes, time pressure is a time you are getting pressurized with time, and these questions are doable in an exam. So you know your weakness there, and then when the solution comes out, so you just look at what I just used to look at what questions I did wrong, and I used to solve them again. Like at least see the questions and remember like what I did, but I sometimes I am not able to remember. Then I solved it, and then I matched it with the solution.
Hmm.
So yeah, so sometimes mine was an entirely different process. Solution is given entirely different. So two processes. Maybe in some other questions, any of the processes may come in handy. Um, and in VRC, it's like so I what I used to do is I used to try to track the thought process of the examiner, like what he wanted me to think about. So in that way, the gap decreased, and LRDI. So it's pretty straightforward, and so yeah, that's how I analyze mocks.
Okay. In the mock analysis, for example, if you had a look at most of the mock analysis at the aspiration, the CL mock analysis, there are various kinds of tools that are available for one to evaluate oneself in terms of understand the topics and what is your proficiency, understand the topic wise how your performance is varying over the course of taking mocks, and you are able to see which are your strength areas, which are your weak areas, how to handle these two areas. And also when you start looking at deeper analysis in terms of difficulty level of questions, which question you picked up, which you should have picked up, how many of the easier questions you actually picked up, how many of easier questions you could not spot, and how many of the most difficult questions you should never have touched, you touched, and what is the time frame that you take to solve every question, and what is the time frame that the best of the lot, the top 10 percentile scorers are picking up, and how they're able to squeeze the time. So a lot of analysis happens there, available there. What did you look at each of these, or you picked up only one or two of these to choose and say, okay, now I limit to this too much of analysis?
Yeah, so I used to look at that like which questions are difficult and I touched it, which questions easy and I left it. So I used to look at this. I don't looked at time because I think it kind of balances out. If I take more time in one question, I will take less time in another question. So yeah, it kind of balances out. So the only thing better to me is so that I don't miss any easy questions. If I attempt difficult questions, it's I mean yeah it's okay, but you shouldn't spend much time in it. If you can get it right, so that's fine. But you never should miss easy questions. So that's what I focused at.
Okay, okay. Now, by what which month did you freeze on your strategies? This is how I am going to now look at CAT as a paper, VARC and DLR and QA. So this is how I'm going, this is my format of cracking the paper. By when did you freeze it, and how did that freezing impact your performance?
Yes. Uh, I probably freezed after giving about 5 to 6 mocks. So I took probably 3 4 strategies in those 5 6 mocks, and then I found that okay, I think this one optimizes everything. So that's when I finished. So it will be around September, yeah, September middle, September end kind of a thing. So when I just finished my syllabus and then I knew like what all things I can do, what all things I can't do. At that time, I kind of settled with one thing. Yeah.
Okay. So when you continuously applied that strategy, um, did you tinker with that strategy somewhere along the line as you saw your performance, or that strategy was sound enough for you to increase your performance?
Uh, so it kind of depends on the situation. Uh, like if you see a question is too tough for a question as a paper, I mean, a section is too tough for you, then you need to optimize your thing. But it's all about the in the present situation. You have to be flexible about it, and you just can't be rigid about your strategy and apply it to whatever comes, but it may also backfire. So you better have a plan. Like if the question appears tough, what should I do, like some alternatives kind of a thing, a little bit, and be sure about it. Yeah, so that's what I did.
Okay. Okay. Now tell me, how did you um, tackle, or how did you manage your last 4 weeks, 3 weeks? Because because your plan is you have to get into a business school. I can't do research. So how much pressure was it working on you, and how did you handle the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks before CAT and the last week before the CAT?
uh, so uh, so at that during my CAT preparation, I was also working on my thesis. I was so my campus placement was there also. So I was preparing for that. I was tutoring students with on fluid dynamics, and as well as there is my semester studies and all those things. Uh, so so in the month of October, my mother met with an accident. So
Hmm.
she was bedridden. So so at that time I wasn't able to focus anything on CAT. Like I didn't even open any book on CAT, and so the placement process was at peak. So I was doing that and managing other activities. So I used to probably work 18 hours a day throughout, but in those 18 hours I hardly had time for probably 4 or 5 hours with for CAT. So most of the time it was on thesis and all. So in the month of November, when I saw that, yeah, I have only 27 days left, I was very much pressured at that point of time, because I didn't even open any mock, any book, anything related to CAT in the past 1 month. And so I just started. So I didn't have any time to revise. So actually, the plan was that I will use the October and November, whatever I get, to just revise the concept and just give as much mocks as possible. But that didn't happen. So I have to modify my strategy. So I just decided to uh, go do I mean attempt as many mocks as possible, because I realized that revising concepts will take more time than and mocks will also help me revise the things concepts. And so I just focused on giving mocks. Like I used to give probably 2 mocks in 4 days or 3 days, something like that. So so yeah, so last 27 days was all about CAT. I was doing nothing else except my placement, and so I gave probably 2 3 mocks per 4 5 days and analyzed it. And so after a few probably 6 7 mocks, I was feeling confident enough. The pressure was gone, and I was doing that. Yeah, okay, I am confident enough to crack CAT. So that's what happened.
Okay. So that transition from in the month of October, no CAT prep, to November 27 days would have been real, real transition that you made. Tell me, what did you do in the last 1 week, last 3 days, 2 days?
Yes, so that's a funny thing. So in last last 3 days before CAT probably I had my placement test on all of the days. So in our college, placement tests occur at night. Like it occur after 12 o'clock, 12 midnight, and then it goes on till morning 5 6 a.m. And because in the morning we have classes and all those things, so the placement test occur at night. Uh,
Oh,
so uh, so I attempted. I thought that okay, I'm giving placement test. So let's. I mean the so most of the placement tests have the analytical the aptitude test that. So I thought that okay, I will attempt mocks, at least 2 mocks in these 4 days. I thought about that, and then I attempted mocks, and in both the mocks I scored below 70, I think. So so anyway, I thought that so I was a bit pressured about QA because QA was, I mean, I never scored that much low in any of the exam. So that was just before CAT. So anyway, I didn't let it come to my head. I just looked at the solutions, understood where I went wrong. Then I realized that it's everything silly mistake. So I was a bit relieved about that. And and yeah, so I so then what happened was on B day itself, I had two placement tests from 3 a.m. I think. So I woke up at 3 a.m., gave two tests, and then thankfully my slot was slot three. Then I went to exam.
so after your placements, you slept for 2 hours or 3 hours, then you went for the exam?
Yes, yes, I slept for yes. So I was doing coding throughout the night. Then I gave exam, and then I slept for about 2 3 hours, and then I went for exam. And also
So,
on the road also I slept.
so when the slot one and slot two people are actually taking the exam, you are asleep.
Yes. I just even I blocked all the notifications. I asked my father not to see anything on social media or anything like that, and don't tell me. So my father is always of the belief that uh, मतलब जो भी लोग बोल रहे हैं उनका पर्सपेक्टिव है, अब तुम अपना मान के चलो. So he never cares about all of those things. But still I want him not to tell me about all those things.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, so when you enter the class, when you enter the examination hall and you had 1 hour before the examination, so what did you do?
I said I slept. I was very much asleep at that point of time, and so I thought that it's better to sleep now because once the exam starts, I I I don't know what will happen. So let's utilize these 40 minutes effectively and just sleep. So the invigilator woke me up when I asked the invigilator that please wake me up before 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and then I went, I freshened myself up, and yeah, so it's a power nap kind of a thing.
So the whole room must be looking at this fellow as comedy is sleeping.
Yes, yes. I mean, I was feeling weird because everybody is looking like, I mean, what is this guy? Everybody is so much tense, and I'm just there sleeping. So even I was feeling weird, actually.
So they all, if they get to know your result, final result, they was this fellow slept through the exam too and got into IIM Ahmedabad, they would say. Now, tell me, were there any surprises during those 2 hours? Were there any turmoils or it was smooth sailing?
No, it wasn't smooth. So in the VRC is always difficult for me to judge. Even in the D-Day itself, I wasn't sure how I will be able to perform on VRC. So anyway, VRC was like, I don't even know what I did was right or wrong. So you don't get any feeling about that kind of a thing because it's very difficult to judge VRC, I think. Uh, so VRC just went and then came LRDI. So I had a I had a range of scores that I thought that I will be okay to bring. Like I targeted around. I knew that okay around 30 in VRC, around 40 in LRDI, kind of a guess like thing. So then when LRDI came, so I solved close to 1,000 cells before giving exam in LRDI, and And then I did the worst thing possible. I thought that okay, so there are two sets with 6 questions and three sets with 4 questions. So I thought okay, I will attempt 12 questions. So two sets with 6 questions is less effort. So I will solve these two sets. I will get done with 12 questions. Then I will look at these 4 sets. So then I saw that 4 set diagram, 4 set Venn diagram question. That was my first question. I said, oh, this is very nice. So I solved it. So that was a 4 question set, I think. Then I looked at the two 6 question set, and then none of them. I couldn't solve any of them. So I solved probably one two questions of them, and then there was around 10-12 minutes left. So I was hugely panicked, and then I thought that okay, let's calm myself, and let's see the other sets. So when I looked at other sets, it was like every set has one two questions doable. So in those 12 minutes, I solved around 6 questions probably in the remaining sets. So part like this. So then still I was like very sad about LRDI because I had much expectations of it. But anyway, I had QA coming, so yeah, that was like my joy kind of thing. So
So basically the challenge, the issue was you deviated from your actual strategy that you
yes,
practiced with,
yes,
and that created a problem.
yes,
But yeah, but perhaps the mind worked in the pressure, so you just picked up randomly and you're able to solve. Very good. So how was QA? Did LRDA had an impact on your QA performance?
yes, I think because when LRDI went like worst ever possible. So then I just thought that okay, here comes QA. It is my strength. I have to attempt all the questions, like I told to myself. And then when QA came, so in the first 6-7 minutes, I solved around 8-9 questions. So that was a huge boost. Like I never had to look back after that, and every question was like I didn't even have to try twice. Like all the questions I'm doing, it was just solving. I was just able to solve in one go. So yeah, QA was very good, even better than I imagined. I was able to solve around 22, 23 questions out of 24, and anyway, one or two were wrong. As far as I remember, yes, QA was pretty good.
Okay. So somehow your microprocessor worked overtime to make you happy at the end of QA.
Yeah.